Gary in the camo t-shirt starts round with a very tight guard. Both Terry and Gary start to measure with front hand. This is to measure distance between opponent for offense and defense. Gary knows him and Terry are in close range, so begins to let rear hand go at different angles. As Gary is southpaw, his rear hand can be lined up to land, but as Gary threw it, he took his head off of the line. The hardest thing for inside fighters to do is manage to get in close range, so what Gary does next is stay close to opponent. If the jab can land, you can land the cross. Always vary attacks. Gary saw a hook was open, but went downstairs, so Terry opened up even more for attack. It's not clear from this angle, but Terry may have had an open guard for bait. When Gary threw wide hook, Terry landed first with jab. Terry smartly retreats to center of ring. Both boxes constantly take head on and off the line, making it hard for opponents to time attacks. Gary proceeds forward with tight guard to give away little openings. As Gary stepped in range, Terry prepared to catch a hook. He was then unsure of attack, but cleverly put weight on back foot to create distance and held Gary with lead hand. This small exchange shows you defense is about positioning as much as it is seeing a punch and actively avoiding it. Terry demonstrated excellently what you should do when opponent applies pressure. He constantly stepped off at a new angle, and after punch to keep opponents off, he then ended sequence with defense in case of counter. As opponent kept attacking in last resort, he smothered him. Both boxes immediately back to tight guards, moving head off the line. Terry has now taken defensive approach. He's creating space between himself and Gary via footwork. Terry still measures with jab, as he does so to judge distance and to occupy opponent's mind. Because he measured distance with jab, he knew Gary was in range and immediately put weight on back foot. Because he stood up straight and not stepped to the side, he was hit with cross. After Terry was hit, he held guard tight. He managed to block punches and immediately countered. After attacking is when you're most vulnerable, so counterattacking is a great tactic. Both boxes exchange punches close range. When in punch range, a tight guard is best form of defense. But Terry shows a lovely side slip. As he slipped, putting weight on rear leg, he stepped towards Gary to smother and stop attack. He then used this as an opportunity to spin opponent, taking him off if the ropes to dominant position in center of ring. Terry shows superior ring IQ in this spar, but Gary shows superior technique in a tight guard. Every time boxes get close, notice how tight Gary guard is compared to Terry's. This is the main reason for why Gary is able to look more dominant. He's sure opponent can't land, so is calm and relaxed and able to create openings. Whereas Terry's guard is more open, so he has to see the punch coming and time when to shoulder roll, slip or block. Look at both boxes' guards. Terry drops lead hand, so he has to think pure defense, whereas Gary is able to think offense. The key points from spar. A tight guard is king for defense. Don't freestyle, use ring IQ to get out of trouble and to attack. Your stance and focus changes when standing at different ranges.